everybody on YouTube. I'm just going to do a little video here. Haven't done a video in a while, and I'm thinking let everybody see how I ended up doing my filtration on the 540 gallon Giant. I originally had plans of having two 75 gallon sumps with a crossover tube, which would have a little check valve and an aqua lifter pump to keep it bled out so it would hold siphon. To give that would be the purpose of that, would be just to give them level. Having the crossover tube siphon from 175 to the other would keep the water levels even, then I could have a pump in each one. And if there was any difference in the pumping capacities, the amounts, and the flow or whatnot, it would stabilize. But having 175 gallon on this side and the other one on all the way over there, I had to have a 4-foot, 44-inch crossover tube. And getting the siphon going was really quite the task. It wasn't impossible, but once it was running, I'm just thinking, what happens if the power goes out? And originally, many years ago, I had one of the big name brand wet dry sump systems. It was only 33 gallons and was rated for up to 300 gallon tank. This here 75 gallon was working so well with the 360. I had absolutely no problems. I don't need water volume. I've got all the water volume I need with the tank. I mean, the beauty of a sump is it gives you more water volume. And if you have it adjusted right, if you have your returns just barely breaking the surface of the water, there's no real water to suck back in. I have lines right here. I have it just above the bottom line, but that's the difference from running to shut off like a sort of a mock power failure. That's all it went up. I have it dialed in, so that's all. There's no chance for it to flood. And I have the Stockman overflows for the drains. So once the water comes down past them, no more water comes in. It's pretty much bulletproof. I've been tinkering with these things and learning as much as I can, building my own for about 8 or 9 years now. So I'm really confident. And I got these little plastic racks, and they're all drilled out. I learned this years ago when I was looking at Joey, the king of DIY, and I like the way it works. I mean, this I'm sure there's even better ways to do wet dries, but this is such an easy way. I've been doing it for so long. All my media is seeded. I've got a gallon of bio balls. I've got scrubbies and ceramic rings. So they're totally submerged. The bio balls is getting the trickle. And this little tray right here is ceramic rings. That's getting a trickle. Then I've got my filter pad up top. And you see the pump. Each tower is exactly the same. Each have their own air pump. And down at the bottom, I have air going up as well. So I've got trickling water and air going down through the biomedia, and I've got air coming up from the bottom. There's my 1800 gallon per hour mag drive pump. I have two heaters, two 300 watt heaters, and I really have nothing more that I could want from a filter. It works perfectly. I have my power outlets running on the back there, if you can see. I've got a big power strip, and my Stockmans come down to the 1.5 inch. They turn, and then they come all the way over here. Each one goes to its own tower, each Stockman from each corner. I've got a very slight downgrade to the I mean, if it drops 1/8 of an inch when it goes into the top of the tower from where it comes around that corner, but it's really not that loud. I haven't got doors on. I figured, you know what, let's do this before I put the cabinet finishing touches on the doors and the detailed trim molding. I want to give everybody a chance to see how this was running and how I do my DIY sump system. I've got my FX4 here. I had the little pedestal on it. It was on the other stand because I had shorter hose. I went ahead and redid the hoses, and then over on that side I have my FX6, and I did some new hoses there. And I just want to go into one other thing about the dialing in your return pump and everything, the amount of water coming in. Everyone has this idea they need to have ball valves and gate valves, and they have to adjust them and dial them in, and then they have to readjust them. You just don't. After all the years and all the learning that I've experienced is, if you have more water coming in, if your overflows will allow more to go in theory, each one of my 1.5 inch with all 14 half-inch holes drilled in my Stockman tops where the water goes in, that's 2,100 gallons per hour in a perfect world, full flow. Okay, that's way more water than this 1,800 gallon pump per hour pump could ever return. I know I've got head loss. I've got 4 feet of head loss, and the angle it's probably doing about 1540, 1520 maybe actual gallons per hour return. So you think, oh my goodness, he's got so much water going in. How is it not overflowing? The pump will push the water back up, and it will only push up. The water can only go, it overflows. If there isn't as much water going over, it can never overrun itself. I don't know how else to explain it. I could run a 700 gallon per hour pump on this, and it pushes up as much as it can push, and it can only overflow as much as getting pushed back to it. So it can't overrun. And I mean, if this pump stopped pumping at all, then it would be very simple. There'd be no water coming in the things at all. It can only allow in what it's getting from the pump. So basically, as long as you have more water going in than your pump is pumping back, or the possibility to have more water coming in than the pump can push back, you will never have a problem. It's self-adjusting. It dials itself in. There's no way for it to get out of whack. So if you have 1,200 gallons per hour coming in and you have a 900 gallon or 950 gallon return pump, it will never overrun. There's never a chance to overflow. Not in regards to that. If you have your return outlets too deep and there's a power outage, it will suck from the lowest point. So you just have to make sure that those are not in too far. I don't want to ramble, but it seems like it's something that a lot of people have curiosity about or a struggle with, and you just don't have to overthink it. It's a very simple process as long as you do a few specific things, and I absolutely would be glad to share any information with anybody who ever has any confusion or curiosity about it. I love the sump systems. They're fun, and I tell you what, my first one was like almost $700, including the pump. This one here, the most expensive thing was the pump. The MagDrive 1800 is obviously a decent price, but the towers, the media, even this tank. I mean, altogether I've got maybe $400 in this system, and it's far superior to the first one I had. So anyway, I'm done for now. Thanks for listening and watching, guys. And I really appreciate everyone who's subscribing. We're almost at the 300 mark, and we get to 300 subscribers, we're going to look towards doing another little contest. We'll figure something out. Let's have some fun with this. Alright, bye for now. Later.